Well, welcome to the Freedom Project. I'm Pete Adams. You guys probably know that, but you may not know my good friend Sherie Hollis, who's a metaphysician. She really knows her stuff. If she didn't know her stuff, she wouldn't be on this call teaching you guys. So I respect everything she does, and I'll tell you, Sherie, share with them your blog real quick.
Okay. My blog is purpose-meets-destiny.com, purpose-meets-destiny.com. And this blog is about teaching people how to bridge the gap between where they're at in their lives and where they want to be in terms of their purpose. And some of you may know your purpose and others may need help refining your purpose. So that's what this blog is all about, helping you to, through articles and products and services, helping you to be able to bridge that gap.
That's awesome, Sherie. And the thing too, guys, it's just like, let Sherie save you 3-4 years trying to figure out what you should be doing. She's got an intuitive ability. So, it's not a traditional thing, but it works. So that's cool. All right. Like I said, we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs and, we did a show on this not too long ago, but it's worth repeating because everyone's got limiting beliefs, and the truth is you're not limited at all. You just believe you are limited, and therefore you limit your full potential. And we're going to talk about some of the sources of your limiting beliefs, and essentially it comes down to, it's like half the stuff in your whole life you've heard. It's just nonsense. It's just somebody passing down their bag of rotten vegetables into the next generation. So we're going to start right off with the sources of limiting beliefs, and by far, your parents. If you're alive, you probably had parents, and they probably dumped a whole lot of limiting beliefs on you. Like an example of that would be, let me say, let's say you heard this as a child. No one in our family has ever gone to college, so what makes you think you can go? It's just like, so you start hearing that when you're like 11 or 12 years old, and then you get in this mindset. It's like, oh, no, nobody in my family goes to college, so I'm not even going to think about that. Sherie, you want to share one of your wisdom nuggets on that one?
Oh, absolutely. One great one is children should be seen, but not heard. I grew up under. And so that one was like, oh my goodness, that one, you don't even realize how much of an impact that one has. And it had on me as well.
Wow. Yeah. That's, and I know you're a pretty outgoing person, but can you imagine having like being an outgoing person and having your parents tell you that, like maybe you wanted to sing or dance or something because it gave you joy, but it was just like taboo or something crazy like that. That's just junk, and unfortunately your parents are just passing down limiting beliefs that they didn't even realize they had, and they got them from their parents and their parents and back to the beginning of time kind of thing. So it's just like, if you do have children, watch what you say to those little guys, okay? Because it's like,
oh my goodness,
you're having an effect on them like you can't even imagine. Another one of great sources is your peer group and your friends when you're growing up, and even today. I got a great example of that because everyone likes to be in the status quo. I don't know why. It's just like, if you're not growing, you're shrinking. It's just like life is going by and you're not going for it because you're basically hanging around with a group of people that they're all in the kind of the same vibration, and it's just like, they don't want to go for it because what if they fail? Everyone will think I'm a loser, blah blah blah. And it's that's just crazy. And I had a great example of that from me about 20 years ago. I lived in Massachusetts till I was about 30 years old or so, 33, whatever. And I moved from Massachusetts down to Florida. and we, had all our friends in Massachusetts, my wife and I, and they gave us a wonderful going away party, but they were all like, you'll be back. Nobody,
Mm.
everyone comes back from Florida, nobody stays down there. And we just had to let that go. One thing that happened for us was we sold our house in like one day, and it was like we really, the market was starting to take off. We didn't realize that, and it's just like all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is really happening. It's like, what's going on here? But the thing was, they didn't want to lose us as friends, one thing, but at the same token, they kind of had an attitude. It's like, well, is there something wrong with us because you're moving away? Like they took it personal. But so just be aware of that. People, your friends they'll try to put seeds of fear in your head, like, what if it doesn't work out? Well, how about this one? What if it does? Equal probability. Right. Do you have a friend story like that yourself, Sherie?
No, I just have one in particular about a belief that my parents passed on to me about God punishing you. And they were deeply religious, and they passed on their religious beliefs to me. And I grew up afraid that, oh my God, I can't make a mistake. God's going to kill me. Like, oh my God, so many people have that belief, but they don't know that they have that belief.
Oh yeah, because
it's just so wrong.
It's like it's total mind control, Yeah, it's just like all fear based. It's just like, the biggest, limited belief they give to you. This is, it's like God is like someplace up there, and if you do something bad, eternal damnation to you. And it's like, how could you get it so wrong, And then to live it, but it's like they'll listen to people preach it, like, fire and brimstone or whatever. Yeah, because I grew up in a really, probably everyone growing up in a religious family was like into the law of attraction, and it's powerful.
Yeah, that one was huge, Peter. That one was very huge because it impacted me a lot, and I realized too much later on in life how much it impacted the way that I things in the world.
Well, like here's another limiting belief we all have, right? It's just like, if we're not perfect like every second of every moment, then we're bashing ourselves. It's like, oh, I could have done that better. Well, did you do the best you could? If so, then that's good enough.
That's right.
So yeah, that's a big one too. It's just like, we're the hardest, our parents might, judge us or whatever, right? And they try to, control, they say they try to keep you from getting hurt. Oh, well, what the hell does that mean? It's like, well, if they try to succeed and they don't, I'm just saving them from getting hurt. No, you're holding them back. Right. It's like trying to swim with a cinder block around your ankles. I mean, when you're trying to get, when you're going for stuff, you need to just surround yourself with people who empower you, not disempower you. Because if you want to succeed, you want to achieve an incredible life. Well, it's going to take stepping out of your comfort zone and working past the limited beliefs that you probably have. Here's another one that I found kind of crazy as far as another source of limiting beliefs. And Sherie, you used to be a teacher, I know. Okay, school education and teachers, right? I remember going to, and it's like I'm paying to go to community college, right? And I'm in sociology 101. And it's not really a course. With the professor I had, she had a PhD in sociology, and all she did every single class, like an hour, and it was a Tuesday, Thursday class. So it was like a 100 and I don't know, it was like an 80-minute class or 75, whatever. It was 80 minutes of her complaining about her husband being a medical doctor. She's a doctor, and he makes more than she does. And I'm like, this was like every day. I just stopped going, and it was just like, yeah. I'm like, when's the midterm? Yeah, I'll be there then. I can read the book, but there were people that were like, some of the stuff, they were just like, they were younger. I was like 25. These kids like 19 years old. And they're like, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, buying into all her baggage, it was just crazy, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't get that. It's just like, I don't know. Anyways, that's my story on that side. I
I
hope.
mean, those influences from adults when you're young, oh my goodness, it really, really has a strong effect on you. Even if it's very strong, some of it you can still internalize and not even realize that you're internalizing it, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, a perfect example of that would be like, let's say you had like a really cool aunt or uncle, and you want to be like them. So it's like whatever they tell you is like, it's written in stone, and they could be completely wrong. And you just took what they gave you, like they spoon
That's
fed
right.
you. Yeah, and it's just like, that's just not the truth, But
Yes.
and I read the same thing when I was in the military. I told the story on the show the other day, and basically what it was is I was a specialist. I was in the E4 at the time, and I was up at Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and I was in the Army Reserve, and I was in the infantry, and there was a Special Forces Reserve unit, and I was in the Army Reserve, and I was riding along with an E7, a Sergeant First Class guy named Murphy, and I said, "Hey, Sergeant Murphy," I said, how do you get in the 11th group? Because I was thinking about it. And he goes, oh, the only way to be in the 11th group is you have to be in the 10th group that was the active component on the same base. That's the only way you can get in there, son. I'm like, oh, okay, that sucks. It was wrong. It was completely wrong. About, what was it? That was around about 6 years later. Yeah, about 6 years later. No, actually 5, whatever. I'm at Mountain Warfare School, and there's a bunch of Green Berets with the Special Forces, and they were like out of a couple of National Guard units, right? Full blown Green Berets. And I said to one of the kids, he was a sergeant. I said, how'd you get it? What active duty unit were you in? He goes, I was only active duty for training, because I've been in the 20th Special Forces group the whole time. And I said, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, we're looking for people all the time. I'm like, no way. He goes, yeah. He goes, there's a unit in Rhode Island that's not too far from you. Give them a call. I'm like, well, I've been buying into this bogus information, not doing what I wanted to do for years, just because it was, I call it a stealth limiting belief. When somebody says something that's like fact and you believe it and it's wrong and you don't know it, because it's like you just assume that they know what they're talking about, because
and that's what it is, Peter. It's that they say it so emphatically with emphasis. So it has to be true the way they're talking, but that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, exactly.
What they're talking about.
It's funny. A friend of mine, you guys are gonna love this one. He had a saying, and it was like, seldom right but very convincing. Oh goodness.
Yeah. What's her name? Tiara said something. She said something that she wanted to add to it. She said progress, not perfection.
Yeah, that was great. And the example chair is not on the call today, but she did a testimonial on my YouTube channel. But one of the things that held Tiara back was, she had a limiting belief about whether she could, be successful in real estate, and that fear kept her from going for what she wanted. Oh, Tiara's on the call. What a son of a gun! I didn't see it on there.
Yeah, she's the one that just said progress, not perfection.
Yeah. So it was like, Tiara, I'm glad. I'm like watching myself. Sorry about that. And so it just held her back from not going for what she wanted for like 5 years. And it was just like, nothing's different today. Now she's licensed. That was different back then, except she got over the limiting belief. So, if you want to do something, go for it. And one of these, I don't want to jump too far ahead here. So we touched on religion. Another one too is the community you live in. You know, it's like, where when I lived in a small town in Massachusetts, it was kind of like, honestly, there was a handful of people that like left and didn't come back. And it was just like they kind of like fell off the earth. They went away to college and
Mm.
just never came back. And
Wow.
everyone else was just like, they just got caught up in that small town. They basically got in their comfort zone, and it was just like, you know, all their friends and family were there, so there was no reason to leave. Well, if the opportunity back then, we didn't have the internet. I know I'm dating myself. So these idea of online jobs and all that stuff, that just didn't exist. So if you wanted to find an opportunity, you had to look for it in the newspaper. I mean, that's how crazy it was back then. But it's just a limiting belief that it's like if I step outside of my comfort zone, like I'm gonna fall off the face of the earth, like just sail off into the abyss kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's we all have, we all have some fears that are holding us back. It's just like, and a fear is just false evidence appearing real,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
and another one, I'll share my personal experience, was I've got a master's degree in finance, and I went to Bentley College, which is a great school. But I didn't go to like an Ivy League school like Harvard or Yale or Wharton School of Business. So I had this idea that because I didn't go to that creme de la creme university, that I couldn't get a high paying job on Wall Street.
Mm.
And it was just like, here's what I did. I believe that so strongly that I wouldn't even send my resume in. Well,
Mm.
it's like, how are you going to get hired if you don't send
Right.
your resume in? I
That's
mean,
right.
and this is back before I, started preaching this stuff. But I was just like, I look back and I'm like, how could, what would have been different if I didn't take on that idea, if I didn't hold on to that limiting belief that I had.
Mm.
And it was just like, to me, it was just like, why bother? It's not going to happen. Well, that you create your reality. So I created my reality of not being on Wall Street. And looking back now, I'm doing the right thing because I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and this is what I love. And it's just like, commuting into the city wearing a suit every day. That's not my cup of tea anymore. I can tell you that.
Mhm.
So it all worked out perfectly. Another big source of limiting beliefs it's like the stuff. It's like if you watch the news, I mean, it's like this goes back to like Wallace Wattles in 1901 saying, "Don't read the newspaper." Because it's just like all it is bad news. So it's like, if I'm guilty of this. I'll watch the news, and by the time we get done, I'm like, the world's gonna blow up. I mean, I'm not. What's gonna happen first? Gas is gonna be $300 a gallon, or Russia's gonna invade Montana. I don't know, but it's just like,
Mhm.
it's just try to get yourself rid of that negative stuff because
That one's huge. That one's huge. I stopped watching the news in 2003 because
nice.
no, that's the truth, because
Oh,
I
good for you.
understood that someone else's ideas was influencing me. And I said, no, I don't want you in my head. I want to create my own world. I didn't want the influence of the outside world telling me what I could have, what I could do, what I should be interested in.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? I love that because we've had like the last 2 years of I wouldn't give the illusion of whatever supposedly came through, but all it was just like this giant fear fest, right?
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine, and he was one of the people that was just like was afraid of getting it, right? So he gets all shot up, ultra whatever's, and he gets it. It's like I'm surprised it took you that long, 'cause whatever you fear, you attract, you know.
Right.
So it's just like,
Right.
if you don't attract in things you don't want, don't think about them, and don't
Mhm.
fear them, because it's like praying for what you don't want to have happen in your life. So okay, the how about this? Sure, let's talk about identify rather than just playing the you know pointing fingers at everything in society that gives you limiting beliefs. How about some ways to how would you suggest people realize that they have identify and realize that they do have limiting beliefs?
Hmm. Well, you look at the evidence of your life for one. And it doesn't mean that things are always going to be perfect because you're going to be challenged, and you're going to be tested in different ways. So, that's just part of how the universe works. It has that contrast so that we could grow. So there are going to be some challenges and adversities, things of that nature. But I would say number one is to first take 100% responsibility for your life.
Perfect.
Until you do that, you're not able to move into a different type of energy field where you get to create the life that you want deliberately instead of by default.
Right. No, very well said. Because it's like, you've got to take the responsibility thing is like, you can't blame everything that might be temporarily seem like it's wrong in your life. It's not everyone else's fault. It's not your ex. It's not whatever. It's you. And until you take responsibility, you don't take the power. The blaming them keeps you in the victim mode, and the victim mode only attracts more things in your life that make you feel like you're a victim, and it's you're creating it. So it's just like, create good
and then
stuff.
You take away your power. You don't have if you are not taking 100% responsibility. Your power in your life is in the hands of anything.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly. Really well said. The one of the ways I found that I had limiting beliefs was just when when you think about doing something different or going for a new goal, what's the first thing that pops in your head? I can't do that because of what? And then that's where you're gonna realize it's like, whoa, I do have some limiting beliefs, and just listen to your own self-talk, because that self-talk's not it's not real. It's just like something you're bouncing around your head. It's just like it's you. And it's just like, you think it's like, oh, it's my intuition. No, it's not your intuition. It's, it's just your limiting beliefs showing up. And you got to put the kibosh on it, because you got to be able to control how you think. You can't run, you can, your brain starts going crazy. It's having all these ideas of why it's not going to work. And it's like, how about having a new thought where it's like, yeah, it is going to work. I'm powerful. I'm going to create it. Because it's like the way it works. I know this is going to sound kind of robust, but let me give you an example. Let's say you want to be have this occupation that was pretty unique, and I'm trying. I don't know a good example. Maybe it's something that's like hardly anyone does. All right. And then you start thinking, well, nobody does, so I can't make a living doing this. So that's what you tell yourself in the beginning, right? The way the reality works, though, is if you have that desire and you work with the law of attraction, that opportunity is going to appear. It's like, every opportunity you want to have is there already. It's just not in the seen world. So it's just like, if you visualize, you have your affirmations, you stay with it, it's on its way, like it'll miraculously appear, because it's created. You're actually not creating, you're just bringing it from the unseen to the seen. So never tell yourself you can't, do what you love and have money. You can have both, if you believe you can. That's the thing, because it's like a lot of another limited belief is like people who are artists. Well, it's like, how many times have you heard the word starving artist? Well, how about abundant artist?
Exactly.
I think that would be much better.
Exactly.
If you want to tell yourself something. Sherie, what are some techniques you would recommend to people to help move beyond their limiting beliefs once they've identified them?
Well, one good way to do that is to identify some of your childhood traumas, things that went on in your childhood, and find out, dig into your past and see where those beliefs come from, like we said earlier, with your parents and the way you were reared. It kind of concretized you in a certain set belief. So you have to do some digging sometimes. But the 100% responsibility is key, because then it can take you from that, where you begin to take the responsibility and you can move away from the victim mindset. So number one is that responsibility, because with that responsibility, you're able to move away from that mindset that says that my life can't change because of this, that, and the other, or because of this person and that person did this and that to me. And you'll stay stuck, and you'll keep attracting that type of dynamic to yourself. So like we said in the last class, we said affirmations is a very powerful way to break some limiting beliefs, as well as visualizing. And also reading personal and spiritual development books are very powerful. One powerful book to make reference to is Joseph Murphy, The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Yeah, excellent work. Excellent.
Yes. So anything dealing with the subconscious mind, because that's where the programs lie, in the subconscious mind. We live 95% of our lives through the subconscious mind. So when we're able to get into that operating systems, we're able to change the program that's there. But it takes practice. It takes practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the things I preach every day to everyone is the power of showing up. You got to do your hour power every single day. Do your visualizations, do your affirmations, do your scripting, all these techniques in the visualization system, because you've got to override that archaic operating system that's been running in the background since you were born, essentially, and you don't even realize what it's happening, how it's actually running, how it's actually showing up in your life. And and one of the things besides the affirmations is another one. I call it acting as if, but Neville Goddard called it the law of assumption. So it's like getting into the feeling of what the opposite of what your limiting belief is. So let's say you're a successful, a salesperson, and rather than have the idea that I can't sell anything, stepping beyond that and being able to get into the feeling, because that's a whole assumption thing, getting into the feeling of it being done and being true, which is what I tie into visualizing as well. But it's just like, if you can get into that feeling, the real feeling of how good it feels to be successful, doing whatever you desire to do, now it just kind of the universe will bring it in. I mean, it's just like, it's a law. It's like, everything what seems like mostly the only thing people can agree on is like the law of gravity or something like that. Well, there's spiritual laws that are just as powerful that will work if you work them. That's what that my books are about, has been like sharing my experiences with you guys so that you can have the same success. And Sherie and I, we came up with this freedom project idea to to share our knowledge, but also give you the chance to ask questions, because most people who are working with the law of attraction, they're doing like one or two, like something needs to be tweaked, and so for them to get results. And sometimes it's like, it could be just a question that you asked this evening. It could be the catalyst that changes your entire experience for the better. So
that's right.
Because
it calls to mind what Les Brown said when he said that when you're in the picture, when you're in the frame of the picture, you can't see yourself. So that's why sometimes we do need help. We do need an outside person that is well versed and specialized in dealing with the law of attraction and understanding the universal laws and how they work, so that we can shed some light on things where you might be stuck, or you may be overlooking something. like you're saying, in terms of it might be something very, very specific, but not too much that you're missing in terms of the steps and the processes.
One of the things that I see quite a bit with a lot of people is is when they're setting their intention for their goals and their affirmations to support them, is they're not setting it up in the now that I refer to. It's like, look, example, I am a college graduate, rather than someday I'll finish college. Well, someday is like so weak. I mean, you might as well not even bother saying it, Someday is like, so like, someday, well, what was it? Creedence Clearwater song, someday never comes. So that's that's just one of the things I see quite a bit. And it's just tweaking it, just something that's that simple makes all the difference in the world. So all right, well, we're at that halfway through the show or class. So if I hope you guys got some questions here, because I'm fired up. I'm not ready to get off this call yet. So hey, how about this? I'm gonna call on Harriet. I see you out there. Hey, do you have any questions for us, for Sherie and I? Please.
Myself. Okay, Pete, I was having the time unmuting myself. How y'all doing?
Great.
Good. How are you, Harriet?
Fine, and you?
Good.
I'm just listening, Pete. I have been allowing family and so forth to get me off track, but I said after yesterday, I'm just leaving it alone and getting myself back focused, because the last time that I really had everything flowing to me was, I was on a roll. The last time we went to New Orleans for a LOA cruise, and I was getting everything just free at the hotel. Free drinks, free appetizers. When it was time to go to the ship, the guy paid for my, the train, little trolley ride you go on. Nice. It's like everything was just coming together, and like the universe was opening up everything for me. And I got on the boat and got mixed up with these two so-called friends. And I haven't been able to really get myself together ever since.
Wow, that's weird.
It's like I keep allowing everyone to get me off track, but no more, Pete.
All right, take your power. It's like, trust me. It's just like it's not often, but occasionally I'll temporarily have not a real relationship, but you meet somebody, you got something in common, yada yada yada, and then like about 3 weeks later, like, how do I get this person out of my life without hurting their feelings? But at the same token, it's just like, hey, your energy is sucking my energy, and I'm like, that is not allowed in my space.
They call them energy vampires.
Yeah. Energy vampires, EVs,
Yeah. So what exactly happened, Harriet, that you cut those two people off? What did they do?
Oh no, it was like one was backbiting at the other and saying this one don't want to come to dinner. That's so ugly. Don't wear that to dinner. So it's like she'll tell me the negativity, what her friend would say and do to her. And I allowed to keep listening to it instead of saying, okay, I'm on a good roll. Let's talk about something else. But I kept listening to it.
Wow. And you were totally in the flow there, Harriet.
Okay, so
I was in it, Pete, and I tell you, it is even when we went to the beach and everything, me and Constance and oh Lord, we all went to the beach together, a private beach, and they was awful on the ride to the beach, Pete. It was awful.
Oh gosh! All right,
Yes.
well, I'm glad that experience is over for you.
Yes.
And move forward. It's like you can get right back in the groove. You just gotta start, working the system.
Yeah, I got to start back over, all the way over.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like now you have the skills. You've already shown it, so it's just like crush it. Go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Harriet. That was great.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Hey, does anyone else feel brave enough to ask a question or share anything with us?
Well, I was just going to piggyback on what Harriet was saying, because sometimes you find yourself in a really good place and then something happens and then you're right back at square one. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, like when everything is working so good and you think you're on the right path, something happens and it messes you up. And I guess it's just like the tweaks that you were saying, how can we get back to tweaking it in the right direction for us? And how can we, because there's something subconsciously holding us back still if we're reverting back to the old ways that don't serve us. And I think that is like, what I was struggling with too is like, I think I'm really in a great place and then something happens and knocks me back. And it's just, I'm not sure what to do when that happens.
Well, sometimes too, Tara, what seems like it's like a setback, sometimes it's a setup. So it's happening for you. So sometimes, the universe is going to, align things. So it's like, that next thing might not quite be there yet. So it's kind of like they kind of put you in a pause. But the whole thing, but the trick to it is have the assumption that whatever seems like a negative is actually happening for you. And when you do that, you change the outcome of whatever that event was, because it's like how you react to it, and it changes the entire outcome. Because it's like if you fell into this like, oh, woe is me, it's like everything's getting bad, right? It's happening to me. And then it's just like you're gonna start rolling a little bit down the hill until you basically get back on top of it. Said I know everything's working out perfectly for me, because and the thing too is like there's always gonna be challenges in everyone's life. It's like if you didn't have any challenges, you wouldn't be alive. And it's a lot of that stuff is they're all opportunities for growth. So that you can become more powerful. That's because living on the planet Earth, it's kind of like it's kind of like this giant game. I call it the universe's playground, because we're all here to be whatever we want to do. Be whatever we want to be, kind of thing. So just don't let a small setback be a crushing blow to you. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is, it's just like the faster you can recover, like say, get off the ground and brush yourself off and get moving positive forward, the faster it's going to happen for you. Mm-hmm. So it's really, it's working your faith. That's the thing. It's just like, there's nothing you cannot do there's nothing you cannot do with God. You can't do without God. What am I trying to say here? Because you work with God, you can have anything, and because it's like God sharing this experience with you. God wants good stuff. I know I do. And so just don't let stubbing your toe make you think you have a broken leg. All right.
And you know what else is helpful? My mom told me many moons ago when I was a kid, she told me bad associations spoil useful habits. So if you have decided that you want to grow in your life, you have to watch the people that you hang around with, whether they're your family, your friends, or it just doesn't matter. You have to learn how to set healthy boundaries with people, because some people are not able to go where you're going, or some people have not made that choice to become the best version of themselves. So that's where those healthy boundaries comes in, when you see your life and you say to yourself, this is where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. You have to understand that everyone won't be able to go with you. And there's a lot of people who don't want you to go beyond where they're at. So that's
Right.
another thing too. So you
Big
you
time.
have to understand that.
Yeah, I learned that too recently. You know, everybody that you support are not going to support you. And I found that out. So, yes.
Oh yeah, it's everyone's been there when it seems like it's a one-way street and you're doing all the heavy lifting. That's a warning sign that something's not right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and for me too, it's just like I've had a lot of friends for a number of years, and it's just like I made the mistake of going into business with some of these people, and it's just like you want to get out of a friendship pretty quick, become a partner, and just like them in the commitment to remove anyone who's negative, like basically banned them from my life when I started getting into what I'm doing now. And and they just sometimes you don't have to be mean to them. They just stop showing up, because
Yeah.
it's like they're not in the same vibration that you are. And Sherie said it perfectly. It's like, they're not on the same journey as you are, so it's just like, don't let their journey screw up yours, because of whatever. And
Right.
that's one of the things that hang around people who are going big, or who support you. Those are the friends you haven't found yet, and they're the ones that will show up to help you get to the next level. And that's it's just how it works. A lot of times it's just like you start working on yourself, trying to be the highest and best version of yourself. Well, some people don't like that because now it's like now they got to look at themselves, and it's just like, well, Tiara did it. It's like,
Right.
like, how could she leave me? I thought we were good friends. It's like
That's it.
being friends had nothing to do with it. It was just like
And some people don't really want to see you beyond where they have known you to be.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Totally.
That's the deep part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't try to grow on me. Like, I'm used to you being a certain way, and you're trying to be better and act better. Are you kidding me? Like,
that is, I'm laughing because it's like so true, and it's and it's like, for instance, right? This just happened a few minutes ago before the call, right? I've got a neighbor, and it was like this boundary thing. It's like guys trying to find reasons to bug me because he's lonely, and he's negative, and I'm just like, I'm heading out of town. I don't have time for this. I'll call you when I get back, and I don't, And it was one of these things. I'm just like, it's like great neighbors are great. Some neighbors, it's just like you want to just sell your house and go find a new. But it was one of those things. It's just like I had to make the conscious effort to it's like, no, game over. If if there's an emergency, I'll help you, of course.
Yeah.
And I did go over and try to help him. He was having broader issues with his computer. He's been without the internet for about 8 days, he said. But it's like as soon as I got over there, I was just like, I gotta get the hell out of here, Pardon my French. And I got back and I'm like run into the house, lock the door, shut the lights off. Gotta go do my class. Can't talk. See you. And, that's like, it still happens to me. It happens for me. And unfortunately, I had a great excuse. It was hop in this class with Sherie and you all. So, it's Yeah, just pay attention. I mean, it's like it's so funny. It's like once you start seeing stuff, it's just like, it's almost like like you're trying to walk down the street and somebody's like on your leg, like not trying to let you go. It's like, get off my leg, I got stuff to do, I got places to go, people to see, but anyways, I had to throw some humor in there. Anybody else got something to share with the group or a question?
Anything, guys. Anything that comes to your mind that you've been struggling with or thinking about, and you're like, I'm trying to figure this out here. Anything that comes to your mind.
Well, I know myself, me personally, I just got to get back to my affirmations and my scripting. I know that's the main thing I got to get back to.
Harriet, you got the self-study guide, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. When did you give that out, Pete?
I think didn't I send that to you like a couple of years ago? Because if you don't have it, I'm giving all that stuff away digitally. So make sure you sign up for Tools for Your Success, and it'll give you a link to all the books I've written, both audio and PDF, as well as the self-study guide. And guys, the self-study guide, we were selling that on Amazon.com for $179. I mean, it's freaking beautiful. My wife did all the graphics in it. I mean, it's fantastic. And essentially, you can just take that self-study guide. It's like like I said, it's a self-study guide. So just do what the book tells you to do, and you get your system. Then all you have to do is execute the system, like Harriet said. Get back to doing your affirmations, get back to doing your scripting, get back to doing your visualizations. I mean, it's like this stuff doesn't do itself. And I know you guys have heard me say that.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm starting doing the affirmations and stuff, but I'm doing a bit of an exercise from the book. I don't know you familiar with the author by the name of Victor Bach.
No, I'm not.
Well, basically, he has a book on basically abundance and mindset, similar to stuff that you have. And long story short is the fact that it's like a 3-step process where basically you wake up in the morning, and then you would look at the affirmation that you wrote down, the goals you want to achieve for this year or for this quarter, and then you would visualize each one afterwards. You would say the affirmations and then visualize, and then the second part would be to write one particular goal, it may be 3 or 4 or 5 at most for the whole year within reason, and you would write that one down. Let's say a person want to lose 20 pounds within a certain time period. They would write that, or job or certain income or industry, they will write that down 10 times so it can penetrate the subconscious mind. And then lastly, the third part, they will look at the goals again, do affirmation, visualization, have a chart that tracks it too. But I'm currently practicing on.
No, that's great. The it for everyone out there, right? There's really no secret formula, because I've heard people say that you write it down 21 times or whatever it is, but it's just like, the way it worked best for me is, Tim, let's say you get your 5 goals, right? And if all of that came true, I would call that my ideal scene. So it's like, when I'm visualizing that the whole shooting match. It's like, I'm seeing that career. I'm seeing myself at that body weight, and I'm doing all of it. And I do, and that's the same way I do with the scripting. So it's like, rather than just working on like one at a time kind of thing. What I found worked best for me over this period of time is go through them all, and then because it just, I don't know. Sherie, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, I have my affirmations, my goals. I have them with music playing in the background, like Hertz music, so that I could program my subconscious mind. And I listen to it while I'm driving. I mean, not driving, while I'm jogging. and I listen to it while I'm sleeping. And the thing is like you're saying, if you have, like, for instance, I'll have 10 different goals, and I'll look at my ideal life within the scope of those 10 goals. And I'll actually be walking in my life as it already has happened in real time. Not like I'm trying to get to those goals, but those goals are here now, and I have actualized those goals. So I'm seeing it already as done. I'm not seeing it as something that I'm trying to get anymore.
Right.
So your ideal scene, you can spend a half an hour to an hour or however many minutes you like to do it throughout the day and go into your life. Create that life now, not later. And that's what Peter's saying, is focusing on the end. And you can bring all those goals simultaneously together and live that life of that person who has actualized all those goals.
Right. And to add to what Sherie just said, Tim, is the is like being able to get into the feeling besides seeing it, the feeling of it being done and in the now, and having gratitude for it. Because it's like, if you can take all your goals, be able to visualize them as already being done and in the now, and have the feeling of gratitude for them, for it being true. You got you got it licked.
Yeah.
But
and that's what it is. It's practice. Like, for instance, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's a great example of that, where he was paralyzed. He was riding his bike. He was running a race.
He was in a triathlon.
Yeah, triathlon. Yes. And his bike flew up, and his spine and everything. He was basically, they said he would never walk again. So he spent 6 weeks of his life going into his mind, visualizing every part of his body being whole and healthy and healed. And he actually changed his whole molecular structure by doing that. And he was able to walk again. So the mind is powerful, especially when it has that belief that it is so.
No, great. Thanks for sharing that, Sherie. That's a great example of it.
Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
welcome.
Yeah, and Tim, just like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's the biggest thing is, customize what works for you. And the way you can tell what works for you is, how does it feel when you're doing it? If it feels like you're forcing it, for me, I always visualize. I mean, it's like, I'm just a visual person, so it's easy for me. And I've been doing it for so long that it's like, it's like breathing. But sometimes when I first started scripting, it just wasn't clicking. So I script probably 10% of the time when I'm doing my hour of power. Sometimes it will just come in script. I'm like, all right, cool. Because it was just like, you haven't done it in a while. What's wrong with it? It was just, it'll just come in while I'm doing my hour of power. So I'll do it then. And then I'll also visualize as well. And my wife, Robin, it's like, the scripting for her is like the secret sauce, because she can get really into the emotion by writing the stuff down. And she doesn't have that level of success per se when she's doing a straight, visualization kind of thing. So it's just like, some people, we're all wired differently, and just like, find out what works for you, but more importantly, do it every day. Do it throughout the day, because it's like, I do my hour of power in the morning. You can wake up, you can read your goals, right before you go to bed, and then visualize all that stuff, and then get up in the morning, do your hour of power or whatever. It's doable for you. It could be at your lunch break, and do your spirit work. Because the more you practice, the easier it becomes, and the greater the results you're going to get. Because it's like, once you start getting results, you're going to get fired up, because then you're like, I should have gone bigger. So it's just like, like for me, it was just like, it started off with the 12 crazy goals. When I wrote those goals down, it was like so on the edge of like, I'm like right on the edge of what I could believe, but I could believe it because it wasn't beyond me. And then when all that stuff showed up, it was just like, whoa. And this is way before that movie, The Secret, came out. So I was doing this stuff. I'm just figuring it out as I go. About the only book that was helpful to me was Creative Visualization, as far as a technique goes, from Shakti Gawain. And then it's like I kind of I took her techniques and then I made it my own. So I changed how light was coming in. If you read her book, you'll see what I mean. But it was just like, it was just a concept. And then it's like, now I'm like visual festation, man, because it works so good. I created the reality, and that stuff in the book, I didn't make it up. So it's like, I can do it, you can do it, we can all do it. But you gotta be able to show up and put your time in. I mean, unless you're like, some kind of like a Christ type vibration person, you're probably not gonna be able to click your heels and have it happen that quickly, but you could. I'm not saying you can't. You absolutely could if you were in that vibration, in that level of faith, that you could walk on water. It's like there's nothing you can't do in this experience, truthfully. Great question, Tim. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, Pete, I was skimming through my email. I don't have that from you.
Okay. Well, Harriet, have you been to the website and signed up for Tools for Your Success?
No.
Okay, do that. Yeah, do that for me, please, because that'll give you. As soon as you do that, right, it's going to give you a link. That's going to give you it's a downloadable link, and you're going to get all that stuff off of Google Drive.
Okay.
And then you
I'll
can,
put it in the chat, Pete. I'll put it in the chat for them.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sherie. Yeah, real world is just like, it's like, and hey, I give all my stuff away now, so share it with everyone you like. Don't share with those people that you don't like. Just kidding. I don't want to be on the cruise and have them show up. Try to rain on my parade, kind of thing. All right, guys, we've got 2 more minutes. Is great. I'm glad you guys are asking some great questions and sharing, because it's every time you share something, somebody else is learning from it. And that's the thing. It's just it's sometimes it's something just you hear something and it will just click. And you're like, wow, that was so spot on. And I feel like that when Sherie's coming up with some of these things, I'm like, I don't even want to let her finish talking, because I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm serious. She's got some gems, and she just has she has a different way of describing things than I do. And that's probably a good thing, There's all right, guys. Well, hey, we're it's time to wrap up here. I'd like to thank you all for being on tonight's class, and we'll be doing the same thing next week. And we're going to start. We're going to get into goal setting and that whole process. So then we'll be working on the goals and the techniques for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll probably turn the tables and we'll start doing some stuff on business, because I want to have a mix of business and law of attraction type stuff, because it's like between myself and a lot of my friends, we've been in business a long time, and it's like we have experience, and not all of it's good. So it's like, let me save you from losing a small fortune if I can help you, or help you start that
Good point, Peter.
business.
Good point.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
Okay.
it's like Sherie gave you her website, Purpose Meets Destiny. Yeah, it's my wife says I haven't been out to her blog yet, but I saw it. I haven't been taking the time to read through it, but I hear it's got some good stuff out there. So make sure you check it out for sure. All right, guys.
Put it in the chat, Sherie.
What's that?
So you have a website called
Yes, I do. Yes, purposemeetsdestiny.com.
Okay.
And also it's a blog as well. So I have a lot of articles on there that are pretty good. And you can check me out on YouTube. My first name and my last name, you can type in on YouTube and my channel will come up.
Sure,
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure,
You're welcome.
hey, you want to throw that in the chat while we're
Yes, I'll throw that in the chat.
while we're up? Okay, I'll keep the call going till you get that done. Give everyone a chance to access that. You know what's funny, guys? Is like a lot of people sign up for the class, but they don't show up for the class.
Yeah,
It's just like life's about showing up, and
that's right.
you guys do show up, you're gonna get results, because you're going above and beyond what other people are doing. So, thank you again for being. Everyone has a chance now to see purposemeetsdestiny.com. And there's Sherry's name. And all right, well, I hope you visit Sherry's site. And if you haven't already, sign up for Tools for Your Success on my website, peterdadams.com. Please do so. Great stuff out there. And all right, well, until next week, have a magnificent life. And we'll catch you at the same bat time, same bat channel next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's if you got friends who might be interested in hopping on the call. Oh, reminder too, the you need to register for each of the classes, because it's like I don't want people signing up for the class like automatically and just always like basically taking a seat up. Because they signed up once and never came back, kind of thing. So, there'll be a registration link out there again on my website, hopefully in a day or two. Okay, guys. All right. Well,
Thank you,
from.
Pete.
Oh, you're welcome, Harriet.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank
Everyone have
you.
a good week.
You too.
Take
All right.
care, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you. You too. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Take care, guys.